Hello, my friends. Jill here. Happy Wednesday. If you're here, then you are watching my weekly Wednesday Q&A in my Empowered Fitness community for women over 40 looking to get energized, confident, and strong Facebook group. And I'm happy to be here to give you all the answers today on menopause, weight gain, weight loss, fitness, nutrition. If you have any questions and you want to ask them, feel free to drop them in the comments if you're live or if you're watching on the replay, or email me or message me wherever you like. And what we're going to do today is go over some questions from the newest ladies to join the group. I know we had a very late entry, somebody who just joined, and I didn't even catch the name, and I'm sorry you didn't get to ask any questions or answer any questions, but I wanted to make sure that you got in here in time to watch this. So let's get us started. So the first thing that I want to let you know is that in the post here and in the email I'll send out afterwards this afternoon, we do have two links. One is a link where you can set up a free call with me where you and I can discuss what you're going through, your struggles, your goals, and how to get you to your goals and past your struggles. And if it turns out that we feel like we'd be a good fit, then I'll tell you a little bit about the different options that I have to work with me. And the other link is if you don't want to work with me, if you want to start on your own and have something that you can do without the interaction, without the coaching, then I do have a DIY, do-it-yourself, 5-day menopause makeover that includes workouts, meal plan, and some education on what's going on and how to start fixing it. So it's $27, super cheap, and a really great way for you to get started. And you do get to book a call if you want with me to go over what we call a hormone harmony assessment. If you decide to take that, it's totally optional, but it's a great way to start incorporating me if you like, and we can take next steps from there. So let's get right into it and figure out what's going on with you ladies. So we had Holly, who I think joined yesterday, Holly P from Louisiana. And Holly, one of our Empowered Fitness Mastery members, Janelle, is also from Louisiana. And so Holly says she wants to get rid of her belly fat. Don't we all? And so belly fat is something that comes later on in life. It's generally driven by high levels of cortisol, which we start to have when our estrogen declines and we just no longer have the help with our belly fat storage, and also when our progesterone declines, which is our hormone that helps manage stress. And stress leads to high cortisol, which is generally a good thing when it helps us get out of dangerous situations. But when it's constantly high, it starts to have a lot of poor effects on our adrenals, on our ability to process our food, on so many things. And so that might include seeing increased stored belly fat. So what are the things that we need to do? Number one, we need to boost our metabolism. And the best way to do that is to add muscle to your body. The second way is to gain control over your nutrition, because a lot of the things that you could eat just however much you want, whatever you wanted before, is now going to affect you a little bit more. And then the last thing is that we need to get our stress under control. And so these are things that I go over as part of my 5 pillars of my menopause makeover. And so with those pillars, you're going to understand the importance of each pillar and why it's so important to have all 5 in order so that you can get to your goals. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about today, which I guess I'll just talk about it now, is that every Wednesday in May, my client group has been answering a question. So we've been doing kind of like a who, what, why Wednesday, where I give them a question and they go out and do some research. And those who do the research get rewarded. And I think it's a really great way for them to start looking into things that maybe we didn't know about. And this is good because somebody here had asked, and I'll get back to this later. Let's see, who was it? Helen had said, why am I so illiterate about what it takes to lose weight at this age? And I think it's interesting because, I mean, throughout the different stages, when we're small, we have our teachers, we have primary school, we have secondary school, we have college and graduate school to teach us all the things we need to learn throughout life. We do, I don't even know if they still do it in health class. I mean, I learned about my period from was it Andrew McCardle? in a movie or something in health class. And, of course my mom also told me about it. But, when it came to childbirth, I had to do my own research, right? There was no course that was going to teach me about that, about pregnancy and childbirth. So I started buying all the books and watching a lot of documentaries. And then we go through these stages where we start watching, HGTV about our house and how to decorate it. And we start watching all the wedding shows when we're planning a wedding. We start watching the baby shows when we're watching, about the baby stuff. But nobody's got the menopause shows because it's really not something super exciting that people want to know about. And, and I think just in the last couple of decades, there's been so much more research, and it's become something that's not so taboo. And, a lot of professionals out there who want people to know about what we're going through and educate us. So there's a lot of influencers now, a lot of doctors, a lot of amazing authors and speakers putting out education on social media. I have a ton of audibles. The Menopause Moment is a really fantastic book. And so you have to start educating yourself, or you have to find the people like me who have gotten certified in this area. I have certifications in advanced female hormones, menopausal metabolism. I'm a NASM certified personal trainer and carry many nutrition certifications. And so that makes me the expert that can teach you. And especially because I want to, it's my passion in life. It's what I was meant to be here for, is to help you. And so we do need that education. So like I said, I had my clients go out and answer some questions in the last couple of weeks. So last Wednesday, I had asked them to go research, how does declining estrogen impact fat distribution, muscle mass, and insulin sensitivity? And which of those changes have you personally noticed, if any? And so I'm going to go to their research because they've done a lot of this amazing research for me. So the question again is, how does the decline in estrogen, which happens when we become perimenopausal and throughout this menopause journey until we are postmenopausal, like zero estrogen left. And so how does that affect us? So Janelle, hi, thanks for coming. Janelle answered, estrogen decline changes how your body stores fat, maintains muscle, and handles blood sugar. So for fat distribution, it stores in the hips, thighs, and around the abdomen. Great, thanks. And she says she's seen most of these in her journey. Insulin, blood sugar spikes, there's more cravings, and fat stores because of that. And then estrogen helps the glucose uptake into the muscle, which now it no longer will. It generally helps appetite and energy and inflammation control. And so again, these decline. And as estrogen declines, this stuff is not happening as well. So you might see more inflammation, more cravings, less energy, and you're not getting that important glucose to your muscle to help build it. Okay, let's see what Lisa says. So Lisa says declining estrogen slows your metabolism and shifts your hormone balances. It triggers in three major ways. Number one, accumulation. Fat storage shifts from the lower body to the abdomen. That's interesting. Estrogen is known to protect and support muscle tissue. When estrogen drops, the body experiences accelerated muscle loss. Oftentimes we see sarcopenia, which could be a very quick, decline in that muscle, and reduction in overall strength. Metabolic slowdown. Because muscle tissue burns more calories at rest than fat tissue, this loss of muscle mass causes a decrease in your resting metabolic rate, meaning that you're going to gain weight easier and you're not burning as many calories at rest. So you might be saying, I'm doing what I always did, but I seem to be gaining weight. This is why. And so Lisa says the vicious cycle, declining estrogen directly causes a decrease in insulin sensitivity. This increases the likelihood of gaining abdominal fat because visceral fat itself is inflammatory and interferes with insulin signaling. This drop in estrogen creates a compounding effect that increases the risk of metabolic syndrome and prediabetes. So, Lisa says, well, I still have weight in my lower body, hips, no matter what. I think I'm feeling lucky that I do not have abdominal fat. She says, mine is soft and I'm really trying to get that toned up. With her focus on nutrition and lifting weights plus workouts, she feels that her muscle mass is on track. All right, and lastly on this topic, we have Zeta, who says, declining estrogen drives major metabolic shifts. It redistributes fat from the hips to the abdomen, accelerates muscle loss, and decreases insulin sensitivity, which elevates the risk of blood sugar spikes. The breakdown fat distribution. Estrogen loss shifts fat storage from subcutaneous fat, that's the fat under the skin, to visceral fat, which is the fat around your organs. So that's one thing, is it's shifting away from your limbs towards your organs. Let's see, I lost my place. Muscle mass. Estrogen protects skeletal muscle mass and supports metabolic rate. Declines trigger apoptosis, cell death. Ooh, that's a new one for me. In muscle tissue. We'll just call it cell death in muscle tissue. This makes it harder to maintain lean muscle and slows metabolism. And so again, we're coming back to these things that are happening, and if you don't do anything about them, then they will happen to you. And you'll be like, why is everything changing? It's because you've got to change your approach. So Zeta says, I've noticed that my waistline grew a couple of inches. By that happening, I guess that's how I was diagnosed with being pre-diabetic. I took care of that right away by exercising. I lost a lot of weight, and when returning to do the blood work, the doctor told me to continue whatever I was doing because my blood work came back all good. So here I am 12 years later, taking good care of my health. So that's fantastic. So that was the answer to that question about declining estrogen. This week, I asked the ladies, what role does insulin resistance play? Because we heard that the decline in insulin reduces that insulin sensitivity in the body, which insulin sensitivity means that if your insulin, if your blood sugar is spiking, then your body knows immediately to release that insulin to help bring down the sugar spikes. So if you're less sensitive, the body's not doing what it's supposed to do to bring your blood sugar back down and maintain it. So again, my question was, what role does insulin resistance play in stubborn weight gain? And what are 2 to 3 evidence-based ways to improve it? And so let's look at some of those answers from the ladies. So Janelle says, ways insulin resistance affects weight gain. Easier fat storage, more hunger and cravings, lower energy, and muscle changes. Ways to improve: strength training, walking after meals, high protein and fiber intake. Write those down. I'm going to say those again. Strength training, walking after meals, and high protein and fiber intake. And remember, anytime you increase your fiber, I want you to increase your water intake too. Because if you have too much fiber and not enough water, then it's not going to help any kind of constipation issue. Extra fiber could actually make it worse, okay? All right, let's see. Lisa says, insulin resistance creates a frustrating cycle where the body struggles to process glucose properly, leading the pancreas to overproduce insulin. This chronically high insulin level promotes fat storage, especially in the belly. It increases appetite and prevents the body from effectively burning existing fat. Ways to improve. Let's see if we get more tips. You got your pen ready? Balanced meals. Combine lean proteins, healthy fats, and fiber-rich carbs to slow down digestion and stabilize blood sugar. Carb quality. Focus on complex, low glycemic carbohydrates like vegetables, legumes, which are like beans, and whole grains instead of refined sugars. Resistance training. Building muscle increases the body's ability to take up glucose from the bloodstream, naturally improving insulin sensitivity. You got those 3? All right, let's see what Alita found. Alita says insulin resistance traps the body in a cycle of stubborn weight gain by chronically elevating insulin, a fat storage hormone. This causes the body to preferentially store excess energy as fat. It slows down fat burning and alters hunger signals to drive overeating. Here's how you can reverse insulin resistance and break the cycle using evidence-based strategies. That sounds like a ChatGPT or a Claude. Okay, ready with your pen? Here we go. Combine resistance and aerobic exercise. Physical activity opens the door for your muscles to take in and use glucose for energy, bypassing the body's block in insulin action. Research shows that combining strength training and aerobic exercise is highly effective for improving glucose metabolism and insulin sensitivity. I like that because my new program that I just filmed prior to coming here live today includes both strength and cardio in a really smart way. So let's see. Number 2, focus on low glycemic foods. Eating heavily processed foods and sugars causes dramatic spikes in blood glucose and insulin. Opting for whole foods such as lean proteins, veggies, and complex carbs helps moderate post-meal insulin levels, as does that post-meal walk. You got it? All right, so this was great stuff. Hi, Alita. I see you're on here too. Thank you for your input, girl. All right, so that's just some good education for you today. Let's go back to our questions now. So, all right, let's go on to number 2. We've got Carrie from Westchester. Carrie, I moved down to Florida from Westchester a couple of years ago. Well, 4 already. Time flies. All right, so Carrie says perimenopause is holding her back. And she says, how do I effectively lose weight during perimenopause? So as we talked about, our progesterone is dropping, our testosterone is dropping, our estrogen is dropping. So the things we need to do are improve the 5 pillars. Right now, your 5 pillars are kind of a mess, right? Most likely. We need to erect these 5 pillars and bring them all together. So number 1, sleep, okay? Number 2, fitness. Number 3, nutrition. Number 4, stress. And number 5, your hormone management. And so we need to erect those 5, and then they're gonna come together and everything will be a lot better. You're gonna feel better, you're gonna be able to do the work, you're gonna know what you're supposed to eat, you're gonna just get better sleep, you're gonna be focused on those 5 things, and where we put our focus, that's where our energy goes, and that is what we improve. And when we can bring all those, let's say you rate yourself a 2 out of 10 on all those things, when we can bring those up to a 7 and an 8, you are going to feel amazing. If you can bring them up to a 9, I mean, you're gonna be so good. You're gonna be like, I'm in the best shape ever. And it's gonna feel amazing. And just by working on those things, surrounding yourself by other people who are working on those things, having somebody like myself, a coach, to push you in those things, you're gonna be like, wow, this is cool. This feels so good. So that's the point. That's why I'm here. All right. Let's go back to Helen. So Helen was the one who said, why am I so illiterate about all this? Because nobody's teaching it to us, but I'm here to teach you. She says that what's holding her back is her lack of commitment, and what she wants is to lose 15 pounds and tone her body. So it's nice that Helen's only got 15 pounds to lose, but toning her body is going to take commitment. Losing 15 pounds is going to take commitment. And that is something that I will preach forever. I have been committed to my journey for the last 11 years, intentionally working out and not just going to the gym, because I didn't get anywhere when I was just going to the gym. But 11 years ago, I hired a coach. I started programs, something that had weight trackers where I was tracking my progress, something that progressed from a week 1 to a week 4. And my secret sauce for me and my clients is changing up the programming every 3 to 4 weeks so that we are getting new results, better results, having fun, changing it up, and seeing how to get the best results, and really testing new things for our bodies too. So you gotta be committed. And what I love is that commitment does not have to mean hours and hours a day. It can mean small steps that you take, but you take consistently. So trying to fix some things are going to really help you if you can be consistent with those things. So we got to figure out where that lack of commitment is coming from. And so for that reason, I think, Helen, we should have our call and talk about it and figure out. I think Helen had booked a call, but then she got called into work, so we got to find a new day for Helen's call. But I think we got to figure this out. And I think having accountability is huge for somebody who hasn't been committed, right? All right, let's move on. We got 10 minutes left. Melissa says, what's holding her back is finding a fitness routine that she doesn't get bored with. Again, another reason why my programs are like 3 to 4 weeks long. I don't do anything for more than 4 weeks because I get bored too. I have ADHD and I don't like doing anything for very long. Same thing with nutrition. I like to change up the nutrition. In this one, we have 2 weeks of the same nutrition, and then we change it up each week for the last 2 weeks. So again, as soon as things start to wane and in terms of your excitement, you got to change things up. So we might be a good fit for each other, Melissa, because I like to change it up, and every week is different as well. We try to push and change things so that we're getting stronger, and that's how we stay committed, and always having new programs to continue doing. It would take at least a year to do every program that I've created, so you don't have to repeat anything within a year. And when you come back a year from now and you're doing a program that you did in the past, you're going to be like, oh, wow, I didn't remember this one, but look at how far I've come and I'm doing so much better. And that's another reason why we track our progress and we make a binder and we keep everything so that we know how we've been doing. Okay. And let's see, Melissa's question, can women post-menopause really lose weight and get fit? Absolutely. My MO in life is to get fitter and fitter as I get older and older. I don't see myself going the opposite way, honestly. I get fitter, stronger, more confident, more energized, wiser, and so I absolutely believe that. I think it's just important to have a coach and to have a community around you that wants the same thing, because ultimately it's kind of like when you tell your kids, to surround themselves with good friends, good people. They rub off on you. The people you spend the most time with are the people that you are going to be like ultimately. So spend time with fit people, spend time with positive people. All right. Okay, we got Lucy. Lucy said a lot here. Perimenopause is kicking my butt and I'm terrible at planning meals. I also struggle to stay on a consistent exercise routine unless I am working with a trainer, and I can't always afford a trainer. Also, food is expensive. I agree. Food is getting more expensive and my teenage boys are eating more and more and more of it. So I too am trying to figure out how do we feed these boys and not break the bank. And for that, I'll start with that one. Number one, with my boys, I started adding just bulk in rice, pasta, eggs. That's a really great one. So a big thing now for us is I will make them lo mein or fried rice, and I will put a protein, so chicken, steak, whatever, and then vegetables. They love broccoli. I'll put that in. And then I also add eggs as well, because eggs are actually cheap again. I got eggs for like $2.19 yesterday for 18 packs at Walmart, and I got 2 of them. Because my son JJ eats 3 eggs every morning on his own. So putting that into a meal as well has helped kind of bulk things up. So anyways, I find that honestly eating out is going to add salt and fat to your meals and is more expensive. So eat in, buy foods in bulk. Whenever we buy chicken, I buy a really big pack. I either make it prep it, or I cut the package in half, buy family packs, and freeze it, buy things that are on sale when they're on sale. Plenty of ways to save, plenty of vegetables that you can get, fruits you can get, low cost. Just focus on the things that you can buy. I buy, a lot in bulk now, to save, and, I think that's the key. Okay, let's see. Perimenopause is kicking my butt, terrible at planning meals. She's not planning meals and she's not consistent in her exercise routine. You got to do those things. Honestly, like, you don't have to be perfect, but my rule of thumb is 80%. 80% will move the needle in the right way. Anything less than that is going to keep you where you are. You're going to stay the same, or you're going to get worse. So if it's important to you, you have to give the time, the effort, the energy to planning, right? And planning is free. Nobody's charging you to plan your meals. So that's something you got to do. Saying that you struggle to stay consistent with an exercise routine unless working with a trainer. So I have a really great do-it-yourself type membership where you don't have contact with me. You're doing it on your own. It's $27 a week in my app, and you have programs. And so maybe it's not about having a trainer, but having a program, right? Knowing that today I wake up and I already know I know what my workout is. Tomorrow it's this one, right? And I know the exact 6 moves that I will be doing tomorrow, or 7 moves. I know how many sets, I know how many reps, I know exactly what I'll be doing, right? And so I just have to show up to the space and just follow what I got to do, go down the list and do the things, right? And so I'm the trainer, I wrote the program. So you need the program. I think that's what's the most important thing. You don't need the trainer taking you through the workout. Yeah, that's expensive. If you came to me, this is 6 workouts. If you came to me 6 days a week, that would be over $700 a week to work with me. That's ridiculous. But you can get my program and spend $27 a week. That's a few dollars, $4 a day. For $4 a workout, you can stick to this and you can see it through. And there's a check boxes, and you have your printout and you fill it out and you find people to hold yourself accountable, and there you go, So you don't need that necessarily, but we can talk about it if you want to set up a call, Lucy. Okay, so we went through those things. Question from Lucy: how do I get my hormones to work for me? 5-day menopause makeover, $27. Get your pillars in order. That's how you're going to get your hormones to work for you. There's even a hormones guide, hormones and supplementation guide, with good questions to ask your doctor and everything. She says, I've been told to go gluten-free, eliminate dairy, etc., but that doesn't seem sustainable to me because I love cheese and yogurt. So number one, unless you have a gluten sensitivity, a dairy allergy, you don't have to get rid of those at all. Eliminate is a word that I don't use because I'm not willing to eliminate anything, especially foods that I love. What you need to do is be conscious of how much, right? Possibly limit a little bit. And nowadays, they have non-dairy yogurts. There's so many yogurts out there that you can get. So non-dairy yogurt. Cheese, who doesn't love a bunch of melty, gooey cheese? If I could eat nachos and pizza and chicken parmesan all week long, I would. But it's not going to get me to my goals. So I've got to pick and choose when is the 20% that I want to eat that thing that I know is not necessarily the best choice to get me towards my goals, but something that I want to enjoy. And so you can have all the things that you want to enjoy. You just have to choose and know what are your limits and what are you really wanting and what's most important. So anytime you say you're eliminating a food group or somebody told you to do that, I'd be like, see ya, no thank you, not necessary. It's kind of like if I went out and ate a piece of pizza right now, that is not going to change the entire trajectory of my fitness journey, right? You just eat it and you're fine. If I eat an entire pizza, could be different. If I eat pizza every day for the next 7 days, it could be different, right? So don't let anybody tell you that you have to eliminate anything unless you have an allergy or a major sensitivity that is going to make you feel sick. Then you might not want to do that. All right. Last question was a very short one. We had Debbie. Debbie said she's going through menopause and she says, help, ideas. That was all she said. So Debbie, help and ideas are in the 5-day menopause makeover. I would say start there. If you want to have a conversation, then use the link in here and set up a call with me and we can go over whatever's going on. So I have a lot of great tools for y'all. We've got this new program coming out, and if you want to be a beta tester for me, I think we're going to open up the beta tester group. I know that my clients are going to be helping me test this one out, and that's it. So have a wonderful rest of the week. Stay tuned. I think I have another move from this new program that I'm going to quiz you guys on. Gina should have her little gift pack that I sent out from her winning it, I think last week or the week before. And so keep an eye out. We'll have some fun stuff coming up and some good announcements about what's to come. So otherwise, I'll see you back here on Monday for our Monday motivation. Bye, everybody. Have a great week.